I can create you an amazing opening video for your show.
Do it.
You should.
I can. If you want me to, I will.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
we go. Here we go, guys.
Hey, y'all. It's Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. I'm Sue Bloom. We are broadcasting on HamiltonRadio.net, Hamilton iHeartRadio. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Roku TV, and Audacity, and so many more. We're like on 35, 36 countries, Tony. I mean, where else can you go and be on 35 countries? I know. So, anyways, tonight we have the charismatic. I mean, this guy is beyond charismatic. I've known Tony for at least a year now and have had him on last year. And he's just so much fun to be around because he gets it. He gets it, about musicians. So I'd like to welcome Tony Apello or Anthony Apello from Six Gun Sal. Hey, Tony, what's happening?
What's going on, Sue? It's good to be back.
Hey, it's been a minute, hasn't it?
Sure has.
Your hair's looking good tonight. I need to tell you that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
I
And is
worked
that
hard on it.
did you work on it? Looks
Yeah,
like
I
it's a little
haven't-
shorter.
Yeah,
than last
actually, I haven't cut it in 6 months.
Yeah, okay. And the shades, do you have bloodshot eyes or is that just for the cool factor?
It's just my thing. Since I started this, I remember
It's your thing. Do what
it's
you
fun
want to do.
because I was new to this. I had never done this before this band, and I remember we were getting ready to go on the whiskey. Just the first time we ever played it, and I went to Joey and I go, "Hey, dude, you think it's okay if I wear my sunglasses while we're on stage?" And he looks over at me and he goes, "Of course, you dumb shit. You can definitely wear your sunglasses." So it kind of just became my thing, man. I like wearing my shades, so
Your signature.
that's it.
And the hat's you.
Oh yeah, this hat is kicking butt. I mean, Wendy Harrell did a fantastic job. It's my newest one, so I kind of.
Wendy is incredible. I got to tell you, she did a hat for me, and it's all blinged out. I said, Wendy, just my personality a little bit. Go for it. And so it was pink, and it's all blinged out, and it's a cowboy hat. But I think I need to get a hold of her to get one of those wide brim ones like that because she
I
does
dig it.
amazing work. She does
Yeah, it's
amazing.
amazing.
She's done hats for a lot of different people, and a lot of people that I've had on the show. So a shout out to Wendy. I love her. She's a sweetheart.
Oh, she's totally rocking. And I'll tell you, she was contacting me for about 6 months. And the first month I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then, one thing happens, another thing happens, and then the conversations get sidelined. And then she'd reach out a couple months later, hey, I would love to make you a hat. And then I was like, oh my God, so sorry. I feel like an idiot. And then finally, the last time she reached out to me last month, I was like, oh my God, just basically stay on the thread. I'm sending money right now. Just let's get it done, And she did.
Yeah.
She did it phenomenal. And the cool thing about her, she shows you the steps. So as
Yes.
the plane hat comes in, or this or that, or the different, and she'll show it all to you and say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what's going on. So she gives you an accurate timeline, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is cool. She does amazing work, and I wish her much success. But I bet there's one thing that I got that you didn't get.
What's that?
I got a necklace that went with.
Actually, she gets a cool bracelet.
Oh, you suck then.
Yeah. It was so cool. I ordered another one. On top of the one she sent me as a gift. So, yeah, she's cool.
Yeah,
really
and I got earrings. So blah.
Well, I got a thong. With my
Really?
face. Yeah, my own face. So.
Do you have it on?
I do. But it's just.
Do you want to scare our audience, or would you like?
I don't want to make a lot of the guys that are watching feel bad, so I just.
Well,
Go ahead, forego that.
you'd probably show up all the other guests that I've had on. I have a magnifying glass somewhere here. I swear to God, I'll find it. But if you get the urge to stand up, go for it because I have a magnifying glass just like right here.
Well,
Okay.
behind the scenes, this was part of our initial conversation of how I would dress to the interview. So, I try to keep my word.
Yeah, yeah. You try to stay professional, right?
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
you can be professional with me.
What the boss wants, the boss gets.
There you go. And so, moving on, which why should we? I mean, we're having so much fun now. So you're like the front dude, the the co-chief of Six Gun South, right?
Yeah.
Southern rock band, sounded awesome. And for the new listeners and followers, why don't we give a little bit of the backstory about, you know, how the band came to be?
Well, it's kind of a cool train wreck. Again, in the past, when Dustin and I were actually partners in law enforcement, we used to sneak away in the middle of the night, to a motel room together. No, I'm just kidding. So we used to go. He had horses, and we used to go to the stables, like at 3 in the morning when it was completely dead. There was nothing happening, and we had set up a drum set and an amp, and he would go in there and play his guitar, and I'd play the drums, and we would just goof around. It was pretty much soundproof rooms. It wasn't affecting the animals, and we'd go do our thing. And if we got a call, we'd take off and go hit the call. And then we kind of went our separate ways after that. We were apart for about 10 years. And, but I had always played the drums from a kid, to an adult. And not like at Joey's level. I was never that good. I just,
Right.
I could keep a steady beat, and I knew when to do drum breaks, right? So out of the blue, Dustin hits me up and says, "Hey, dude, are you still making those martial arts shirts and stuff like that?" Because I was still heavily involved in martial arts at that time as well.
Right.
I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I'm working on something, and we're doing some product placement in a movie thing that's coming out. Would you want to have some of your stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And then he said, "Hey, do you mind coming down and helping me out with some fight choreography because the actors are having a hard time putting the fight scenes together?" And I said, "Sure." So I went down there, and it was a really good time. And like all things in Hollywood, I mean, when it comes time to put ink on paper or whatever like that, some projects will fall through or whatever. And so the investors that were in this, you know, said, "Oh, well, listen, we've got our money here, but we're gonna go ahead and revisit this in 6 months." And we know what that means. So, and the thing that's sad is that we had some really big names in the movie. I mean, we had Christopher Walken that wanted to be in it. Al Pacino said he would have a role in it because his wife was going to be in it. So we had a lot of. It wasn't like it was just some no-name actors in a movie.
Right. You had
like
some serious
really,
people in there. Yeah.
really some cool names, right? So anyway, but it fell through, and hell, it happens to the biggest names in Hollywood. So we kind of went back into our worlds, and then he calls me up out of the blue again a few months later and says, "Hey, do you want to come over and jam, play the drums for a couple of weeks? Because the drummer we're messing around with, he's away doing something." I said, "Yeah, sure, man, of course." I come over, and literally had to have been 6 days a week. I went to Inglewood. That's where the studio was they were at. And we played every day for hours. And I had a blast. And at the end of the 2 weeks, the guy comes back. That was the drummer. And it wasn't Joey yet. And of course, I'm humbly bowing out because that guy was fantastic too. And as I'm getting ready to split, because they were going to keep practicing, and of course, I was just going to go ahead and split, go home, and find something to do. Dustin hands me these words on a piece of paper and says, "Hey," he goes, "I've been messing around with these words, and I'm wondering if you could speak the words while I play this riff to see if it makes sense." So my exact words were, "Well, fuck you, I can sing, right? I mean, I can sing."
Yeah, really.
And of course, I was a car singer, I was a shower singer. So of course I call my bluff, and I pick up this, like, I don't know, Tyco go-go Barbie microphone thing that they had or whatever, and I start singing the words as he's playing the song, and everybody's playing for about 10 to 15 seconds, and everybody stops. And we all look around the room and start laughing, and that's truly how this band had its first moments, and how I became the singer for the band. So it was kind of surreal, and still look back on that day and I laugh because it's how the hell did this, even come to be what it is now? Because
Well, do they give you a real mic now, or are you still singing with a Barbie microphone?
I kind of stayed with the Barbie mic. It kind of fits my
I think I think that pink would look good against some of your outfits and your hat. I
I
think it
agree.
should.
I agree.
Yeah. So so they do let you sing in a Barbie mic, which is which is like classic,
Yeah.
right?
If they would just bling it out a little bit more and add some like little shiny stones to it or something, I'd be a little more happy. But
Wendy could do fabulous with that microphone.
she probably could. Yeah, I should.
I know. Yeah.
I wanted the sparkle sunglasses and I wanted a blinged out hat. But it wasn't meant to be. So this is where I'm at.
Pink just didn't go with the complexion and the hair.
Well, actually, pink.
I mean, for the mic, yeah.
With my skin, it goes excellent. Pink is a great color on me. It's just, yeah, they want me just to use a plain black microphone. So
at least it wasn't skin color. Right?
Right. That's right.
Wait, do I see you blushing? Because
I'm just, it takes a lot for me to laugh because I try to keep that hard, persona going. But yeah, every now and then I kind of lose it.
Yeah, you need to check that at the door if you're talking with me, because it's like there is nothing that is off limits. Okay, so who is in the band right now? Who are the band members in Six Gun Sal?
Well, obviously me. I mean,
Well, yeah. Well,
that should suffice, right?
You're
there.
the star, right? You get the spotlight.
That is a good description. Yes, but normally I would say I am Six Gun Sal, and the other people are just part of it. But no, obviously, I'm lead vocals. My girl Gwendolyn is next to me on one side. My girl Mia.
I love her.
And having Mia and Gwendolyn back together is such an amazing experience because they sing so good together. The energy's great.
Oh, you have another girl singing.
Yeah, Mia. Mia was the original backup singer, and then Gwendolyn came on board. And then Mia took off to go do a couple other projects, and Gwendolyn stayed, and then Mia came back. So they're there. Of course, we have Ed Fierro on lead guitar, Joey Durant on the drums. My bro I've known my whole life, Dusty Lang.
Dusty, yes.
Dusty Lang. He's our rhythm guitar player. We have Silver Dog. Now we're not allowed to call him anything else but Silver Dog. He's on
Silver Dog. I did a hashtag on Silver Dog when I made your ad up because I had no clue.
I saw that. I know his first name is Derek, but everything else is. I call him Dr. Bizarro in the band.
Oh.
He's actually.
He gives the band physicals.
Oh yeah, he's actually genius level brilliant. I mean, the guy literally built rocket ships. I'm not even exaggerating. Like he's one of those smart people, right? And then of course we have Andy Hewitt on bass guitar, and I think that's everybody. Yeah. So that's the band right now, and it's amazing. I mean, we're having a great time. We're making new music. We're getting ready for different things coming up, and it's probably been the most relaxed time period of the band for me since we've started. I mean,
well, I think once you get to a certain level and you're comfortable with everybody, you do kind of settle into that where it's like, yeah, okay, I can kick back a little bit because I know that Joey's in the pocket, he's there, Dusty's going to be there. I've had conversations with Dusty and Gwendolyn, and they're wonderful people. And the band has always had such a great sound. It's always had that cool Southern rock. And when you were on last year, y'all had released a song, your version of Hair of the Dog, which I would like to play that version right now. Doc G, can you play that wonderful track of Hair of the Dog?
All right, it's coming up. Here we go. Give me a second, guys. Hang
Pretty
on.
cool song.
It is a cool song. Perfect. I mean, it was done to the T.
Yeah,
Here we
Tim
go.
did a good job producing that.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Heartbreaker, soul shaker. I've been told about you. Steamroller, midnight shoulder girl. What they've been saying must be true. Red hot mama, down like trauma. Time's come to pay your dues. Hell yeah. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Talking, driving, poison ivy. You ain't gonna cling to me. Man, take a bone faker, baby. I ain't so blind I can't see. Red hot mama, down like trauma. Time's come to pay your dues. Oh yeah. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch.
I'm a simple man with two good hands. Thank God I'm American. Shirt off my back to a friend in need. Red, white, and blue is what I believe. Salute the flag. And I'm proud to say, yes, sir. No, man. I was born this way. My back is thick. My patience thin. Shut up and deal. Cause I play to win. Got a long fuse. But don't get me pissed. Cause you don't wanna be at the end of my fist. I'm lock and load. Trigger finger itch. Better warn you, boy. I'm son of a bitch.
Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch. Now you're messing with son of a bitch.
And there it is, Six Gun Sal, Hair of the Dog. Do you have a dog, Tony?
I've had a few over the years, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Just wanted to know. So here we are. That was 2023. And it was a great track. And you recorded that with a pretty famous producer. Hi,
Yeah.
Wendy.
Timothy Eaton. Yeah, he's a fabulous guy when it comes to making that music, man. And he came to us and suggested, an idea, and then we started working on the music behind the scenes, and then a lot of the speaking parts and the spoken word parts. He got in the sound booth with me and had me say the phrases and the different style of voices, repeating certain things over and over and over and over, and being able to catch the right sound. So it sounds like me, but kind of like two versions, two people going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I thought that was amazing. And so yeah, it was a great experience making that song.
I think that breakdown in there just sounds really cool. When you're doing the just the speaking part. I think it just really adds to something, and
That's cool
he
stuff.
produced some of yeah, yeah, and they had the two tracks in the A B, left and right pan or whatever. Um and he did some work with Leonard Skinner and the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, he worked
So
with a ton of bands. Yeah, he's I mean, from Styx to everybody. I mean, the guy's he's been around the block. I mean, I remember one day I was hanging out with him, and he said, "Hold on, I got to wish somebody a happy birthday," and he calls Elton John. And so I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." It's freaking Elton John. They're talking on the phone right now, so that was pretty neat.
yeah, that's good stuff. It's always a good connection. So, Wendy, I wanted to say hello. You'll have to watch this back on my Facebook page or on YouTube because we were talking about you while you were not here. But so now things have changed in 2024. You are doing some new stuff. You want to go into that a little bit?
Sure. I saw another question pop up. I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with the your
There
son
we
in
go.
Germany. Yeah.
Oh
Hi,
yeah, yeah.
Stacy.
There we go. Yeah, so we were just about to cover that. So um, it was pretty cool. We were introduced to Wolf, and we had a few conversations back and forth. That woman right there was involved in those conversations, and Stacy, myself, Andy, and Dustin, and we went back and forth, and we were all very comfortable with each other, and we liked what Wolf does, and how he approaches the music industry, and how he approaches the bands and the artists, and it just felt very comfortable. And now I wish I would have met him, years ago. He's just a great guy. He has a great foundation of how he runs, his business, and he really does look out for the artists, and that's one of the things I appreciate the most. He's not out to take your money. He's not out to offer you the world just to get you the sign. I mean, he's very upfront. He was very honest about everything, and he works hard, and that's the kind of stuff that matters to me. Is I don't want someone that's going to oversell something. I want somebody who's just going to give me the hard facts of what they can do, what they can't do, and what his goals are for the band. So I was extremely happy, and I still am, to this point with Wolf Entertainment, and it opened the door to so many new people and so many new fans, and we're constantly daily getting new fans following the band page, from Europe and all over that part of the world, which is completely awesome. And it's pretty great. And being able to release our first song truly through him and his label, The Hustle, the song came out, in my opinion, is just a fabulous song. It really is so good. And the the producers and engineers that he had us work with were just amazing. And it's just been such a great experience.
So we're talking about Helmut, right? Helmut Wolf, who's a very nice gentleman that I've interacted with, and he has Wolf Entertainment. And so Stacy was involved, of course, Stacy, Dustin, yourself, and Andy. But how do you find an international entertainment force in the music industry? How do you latch on to that? Does an artist reach out to different European agencies from there and see if you can get a response back? Did they contact you? What is the process for, any artist?
Honestly, it was good fortune and blind luck. So our bass player Andy, and this is kind of cool because Andy reached out to us years ago when Matt was still with us, and Matt's a great guy. There's everybody just eventually wants to do something different, and so I have no ill will towards Matt, our old bass player. He was phenomenal, great guy, sweetest guy on earth, right? Made me laugh every practice because of his stupid antics. I'm laughing now thinking about him. But Andy reached out to us again when we said we were auditioning bass players. And when I started reading the messages, I realized it's the same Andy that reached out to me, 3 and 4 years prior.
Okay,
Hey guys,
yeah.
anything
Okay.
ever changes, I would love to play with you guys. I love your music. I love the style. I love the way you guys, come off at shows. And so Andy came over and auditioned with us, and it just worked out. Well, come to find out, Andy's known Wolf for years, like over a decade, or more. And I'm
Okay.
almost certain it's 20 years. And he goes, hey, listen, he goes, I think this label might work for us. He goes, I'm not sure. I can't promise anything, but would you guys mind if I reached out to him and introduced him to what we're doing? And of course, we're like, yeah, sure, man. Let's go for it. See what happens. And it was the greatest thing. It was the coolest thing. And right now, this time period in our lives, it's a great fit. And so we were fortunate enough to have somebody who knew him personally. And he looked at the band. He really liked what he saw. And here we are today.
Okay, so had you already written material for like the new album? Had you already written the hustle and all of that before you got with Wolf Entertainment?
No. So we have right now, we probably have 20 plus songs in our catalog that um, are still waiting to be produced and or created into a song. We have 20 plus songs that are basically lyric based, and then we
Mm-hmm.
probably have another 10 that have been made into demos that we did throughout the years that we never did anything with. But the hustle, like any other song, that's what I call the magic we find in Six Gun South. You know, we I'd say almost 97, 98% of our songs have been Dusty will start playing something, a rhythm. Joey just starts playing the drums, and he tells tell Dusty, hey, keep doing that, keep doing that.
Right.
And um, Ed will jump in, Andy will jump in, and everybody starts rocking out to this riff, right? And I'll just say something like, hey, keep looping that, just keep looping that. And I go through the songs that I have written, and The Hustle was one of the songs I wrote, probably a year ago. And I just started singing the words to The Hustle as they play. And lo and behold, we had a new song. And this was after we had signed with Wolf. And we said, hey, we're going to get you a new song here. And we were going a different direction. And then Dusty, we were just warming up for rehearsal. He started playing that. I said, keep that going, keep that going, keep that going. And I started singing it. And then boom, became The Hustle officially. So that's how we make our songs. I try not to marry myself to any vision of how I want it to sound musically, because the band always surprises me. They always do something cool by accident, and I think that's the magic we have in our band, is that our music comes by accident. They'll just start jamming, and then
That's
I
when
say,
the best stuff comes. I mean, if you sit down and think about it, it's like tear another page, play another riff. But it's so cool when it's just like, let's just jam to something. Bam,
yeah, and
that
and,
riff
and
there.
that
And
that really is how we do it. Wasted time. All of our songs, um, uh, Walk Away, same thing. Dusty was just playing this riff. It sounded really cool. And I said, hey, there's something there, and they know right away. If I say, keep looping, keep looping, keep looping, they already know I have something in my brain that I want to do. And we make it happen. And like I said, we have a good solid core of really good musicians right now. And the music, is proof in itself that this is where we're supposed to be in this time period.
Exactly. And so does everyone get credit for writing the song, or does it go, do you favor to, okay, well, I started the guitar riff and then, but I played the bass riff. I mean, is there, I
No,
mean, I'm not talking about,
each,
percentages. I'm just talking about
no,
collectively, like,
each person is, that's their part. I'm not gonna go to Dusty and tell him how to play a guitar, or to Ed. Now, if I hear something in my head, like, hey, dude, what if you do this and that? You know, they'll experiment with it, and if it works, great. And
right.
we do have a combined effort, but when it comes down to individual musicians, each person's responsible for what they create. So sometimes Dusty will help with, him and Ed will go back and forth on what they think it should be. And Dustin might suggest to Ed, hey, try playing it this way, or Ed will say, hey, what do you guys think about this? But at the end of the day, each of those musicians, that's their creation. Andy creates the bass line. Derek creates the piano. Dusty, creates the rhythm, and Ed with the lead guitar, and Joey with the drums. And then it all just comes together. And then, like Gwendolyn, for example, I mean, she's amazing. uh, she'll pull a harmonica out and start playing a harmonica, or she'll pull her flute out. Like
Yeah.
when we do different covers that require something like that. So it's really cool, And me will grab tambourines or this or that, and everybody will start doing their own thing, and it just becomes this amazing product. And then we dissect it and we clean it up, and then we move forward.
It's the true meaning of what a band is supposed to be about, and not that, some bands there's just one writer, it could be the lead singer, it could be the lead guitar player, whatever. But I think once it's a collective thing with, all that are in the band, it it becomes more unified because it's like, yeah, I did this drum part, and so I think that's important as a band, part of being in a band, because Anthony's okay. Love you, Sue. Love you
Wow.
too, Stacy. Yeah,
Wow.
Tony is.
I don't know why she hates me so much, but she does.
So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that a lot of bands wish they had that camaraderie with each other. But as we talked earlier, sometimes it's ego, sometimes it's there's a lot of different things that play into it. So I mean, that is so great that you have it. So Cece had asked about how the music is doing in Germany, in overseas. Like, are
So
you seeing numbers? Are you going to do a
yes.
tour? What's going on over there?
So um, originally we introduced ourselves to Europe with Hair of the Dog. We'll put
Hmm.
it out there into radio, and got it out there. And Hair of the Dog actually got as far as number 23 on the European music charts, which was pretty impressive to me.
That's
You know,
great. Yeah.
I was very happy with that. And on the world charts, if I'm not mistaken, it was 21 or 22 on the world charts. So that kind of blew me away. I mean, we're unknown. No one really knows us over there, and that's how many times it was requested or played or viewed, and all those numbers get added up into where they place you on these things. So it's pretty amazing, and the hustle uh, did exceptionally well. I mean, we got into the top 20 with the hustle on the European music charts, which blew me away as well. And I think we made it to the 30s, if I'm not mistaken, on the world charts. So everybody's like, oh, well, if you're not number one, or you're not, that's bullshit, because
Right.
there's the top 100 of the whole world, and then they have the top 500 on the European music charts, and we're sitting in the top 50, and in reality the top 30 and 20. I'll take that all day long. That's me.
And there are some, you find that some artists actually do better overseas first than they do here in the United States for
Yeah.
whatever reason, you
Yeah. I
know?
mean, look at Blackberry Smoke, one of my favorite bands. They are incredible. Dustin introduced me to them years ago. Um, Phenomenal band, but they really didn't blow up until they went to Europe. And then of course, after years of pounding the pavement and playing their music, they got signed by a big label here in the States. But um, Europe has a special place in their heart for rock and roll, you see,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
new rock and roll. One thing unfortunately that goes on in the States is that everybody wants to hold on to their childhood. Everybody wants to hold on to when they were in their 20s and the bands they were listening to, and that's great. I mean, I still listen to that music too, but they don't they don't give new artists and new music
Yeah.
the opportunity to not take the place of the biggest and baddest and greatest rock and roll bands of all time, but they just don't give them their due. And everybody, they just, want to see tribute bands or cover bands. And, for me, I never got off in that. If it's not the real deal, I really don't want to do it. I really don't want to listen to it. I really don't, I guess if you're at a party and you hear a familiar song, come on, it's fun, but I'm about the original music. I want to be original. I mean, we do a couple songs that other bands have done,
Sure.
which I think are fun to do. And we, of course, put our Six Gun style flavor onto it. But Europe, they eat it up. They eat it up. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're a brand new band or an existing band, they eat it up and they show you love as far as the rock and roll goes. So, and don't get me wrong, we have an amazing base of fans here in the United States that really show us love and support us, that'll come out to our shows. And,
Absolutely.
Our biggest following and our biggest support network is on the East Coast, though. I mean, we'll sell out our shows over there. It's not hard to do. And, on the West Coast, when people live 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away, it's harder to get them to show up for a show
Yeah.
than, for example, when we play Vermont or, next to Keene, New Hampshire. And those people will travel 2 hours to come see us play. We had people fly from Florida the last time we were there, people that drove from Connecticut, people that flew in from, I remember these two guys came all the way in from DC and that I didn't even know, they just came to see the show. They liked the band. They followed the band. We had people come from North Carolina just to go to that show. Now, that's a serious commitment, where it's hard to get people to come 30 minutes away here.
That are local. Yeah, that is, I think that is like almost all over, because in the days when I was out there, it's like can't get the local people to come out. Although I'm blessed for the local people that have supported me all these years, but it's like bands that came in from out of town back in the 80s and 90s, they went to see more than they did maybe their local bands.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's basically the same thing. If they're, your next door neighbor or 20 minutes away, they don't always show up.
Yeah.
But you're
And
somewhere else.
I get it. Life happens, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out for people. And don't get me wrong. Again, we have been blessed with a very active, proactive fan base. I mean, we never play to an empty room, put it that way, even locally here in LA or wherever we go. There's always going to be someone there. There's always going to be a good, solid group of people. I mean, we've had,
Right.
I think our best night ever at the Whiskey, we had like 425 people come for us. And that was a fabulous night, right? And then we've had nights where, 50, 75 people show up for us. And as I've always said, I don't care if it's one person in the room or 1,000 people in the room. They're going to get the same show.
Same show, yes.
Always. We're going to give it all the energy. We're going to go up there and we're going to play our music like it's supposed to be played. And those are the things that I really hope people realize, the commitment level that we have to what we do. We rehearse weekly. We put a lot of work into it. We've spent, my God, over the $100,000 mark times 2 over the past 10 years doing what we do, trying to put together shows that make sense, try to put together great music. You know, we want the people to love us for our music. We're not out to rob them blind and take their money from them. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people that go to our shows, I know they would say that we're very generous because, I mean, I think I throw out more shirts to the audience, which I'm a terrible businessman, than I do sell them and give away CDs and stuff like that. And it's everybody's like, "Well, you're losing money." I go, "I'm losing money, but that person's going to remember that moment. You know,
That's it.
they're going to remember the moment, and they're going to, you know, realize that, you know, they're actually cool people, you know, and they don't just take off and run and hide in the green room. You know, like for example, me, once I jump off the stage, I'll go and hang out with everybody. I'll take photos of people, you know, and it's not because I'm this super famous guy. It's just because I'm a goofball, and people are attracted to that energy I put off because I want them to have fun. I want to have fun. You know, I want people to take, you know, goofy photos with me and go and share it on their pages and stuff. And, you know,
Right. Well, people come in the door. They don't want to think about not being able to pay their electric bill. They don't want to worry about the grocery bill, just the situation, just their worries. They come because not only do they support you, but they come to get away from everyday shit that's going on in
yeah,
their lives. And for you to throw out a shirt, take a photo, that means more to them than anything. And you're right. I don't care if you're playing for 10 people or you're playing for 10,000. You have to put on the same show because
yeah,
those 10 people could go out and go, yeah, I saw them and they really suck.
yep,
Or I saw them and yeah, I joined the Tony Apello, you know, fan club, you know, and it's just you always have to give it your best, and that's one of the blessings that you as a front person and everybody on stage, you know, gives every time they go on stage, and that's sometimes what's missing with some bands. They're like, you know, they got a drunk guy over there in a corner, and you know, like the Billy Joel song, you know, the guy, yeah, the piano, you know, and who's at the bar and things of that nature. But that means so much.
yeah.
And
I do think that, and you know, I just don't want to ever be that guy. You know, hey, if God blesses me and says, hey, you know what, the band's going to get famous, everybody in the band's going to make money, we're all going to be semi-celebrities or celebrities, who the hell knows? I don't ever want to become that guy that blows off his fans. You know, I mean,
right,
I've always said if I make it, I guarantee you I'll be the same guy that I am right now because if we do make it, it's not because um, somebody's daddy knew somebody's cousin who knew somebody's brother. It's
right.
because we put the work in and we earned it. And so I don't want to ever come off as somebody who doesn't appreciate it. You know, I appreciate the people that support us, and I've said it 1,000 times. I don't really call them fans; I call them friends of the band. You know, because
Hmm.
that's how I look at people, and I want people to feel that way. And I can't tell you how many messages I get, you know, on Messenger uh, and I really don't get my phone number out, but you know, there's certain fans and friends, they have my number, and you know, they also help us with street team stuff and things like that.
Right.
I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to say that guy's the real deal. You know, he doesn't say one thing and do another. He does exactly what he says he's going to do, and he doesn't make us feel weird. You know, I mean, he makes
The
us feel
thing
like
about it is, you can't forget the people that made you.
yeah,
You know, it's like the people, the 10 people that came to see you, and they're there every time you play. Okay, there's always a handful of people that come and see you every time you play. I mean, the band has its following. Okay,
yeah,
and
exactly.
those people are the one that you want to remember because they were there from the get-go. And when we begin to forget about those people, are we better? Are we any better? No, we're not.
Nope.
We were we were right where they were at one point in our lives, you know?
You know,
So
and it's true. Everything's true you just said. And I still remember, when I first started the music business, I was still heavily involved in the bodyguard world, because once I left law enforcement, that's the next step. More
right.
money, 10 times more money than you were making wearing a uniform. And that particular day at the Golden Globes, I was the lead agent on the red carpet, and I had to oversee all the other security processes going on to make sure the actors are safe. And it's pouring raining that day. And I remember seeing all these like younger, movie stars coming out, and the fans are screaming, and then they'll just do this like, and didn't even acknowledge it, and they keep walking, right? And I remember George Clooney gets out, and I remember saying this to myself in that moment, man, if I ever get famous in the band, this is what I'm going to do. He jumps out of the car. He has his, assistant with him or whatever, trying to hold the umbrella. George Clooney pushes the person to the side, his own person, runs to the bleachers in the pouring rain. I mean, buckets.
cool.
It's pouring. And then jumps over the bleachers and starts high-fiving and hugging all the fans. And I'll never forget that. And I remember saying, man, if I ever make it big, that's me. That's
Yeah.
me, because he's showing appreciation. It doesn't matter. I wasn't looking at him for his visions in politics or his lifestyle or what he does or doesn't do, who he supports, doesn't support. I was looking at him as someone who's a celebrity. And in that moment, he showed the whole world why people love him, because he literally did that. While other people were ignoring everyone, he jumps out of his car, runs into, literally jumps over the damn railing and goes and starts high-fiving it. It's a security nightmare, because you're like,
really, yeah.
But that was the coolest thing I ever saw, and that's who I want to be. So if I ever get to any aspect of fame, that's who I want to be, and I try to be that person with those who follow us now, with those who are our friends and fans of the band. I want to be that person for them, because I want them to remember the experience. I want them to say, that guy was always cool. He sang good. He had a great voice. He had great energy, but man, did he interact, and that's the thing I want for this band.
You want to leave that impression on them.
Yeah.
And that's so important. And you're right. There's a lot of people that will just shun those people. And it's like, why? If it wasn't for those people in the bleachers, they wouldn't be watching his movies,
Right.
supporting his career. And you're right. Political, whatever he stands for.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right. It's what you do. It's your music. It's his movies. It's being a good individual is what it comes down to. And I think that the Tony that I've known has always done that I know, and you've always been a people person. You always follow up on people's comments, because I see them, I check it out, because I'm a fan of yours and of the band and so on and so forth. Then the same thing like Gwendolyn, and Joey and Dustin. Like, Dustin will post something that's funny as hell, and I hit the laugh button or something. It's just all good stuff, and y'all interact, and that's what makes more people want to come listen to you and be a part of your show. And I know you, as I am, you feed off of those people when you're singing in front of them, because the more reaction you're getting off of your audience, the higher it takes you. You don't need a drug, you don't need a drink. You just deal with it off of the energy of the audience. And that's always been my thing. So I commend you for that.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Put the check in the mail, will you?
Yeah.
So you've been doing, guys, we could talk forever. I wanted to play The Hustle. You can find The Hustle on all over the place, but definitely on hamiltonradio.net. But I wanted to touch a little bit, just a touch on your movie career.
Oh, okay.
So flash those pearly whites and tell us a little bit about what's going on in the movie career, Sergeant.
So, one of my dear friends, Guy Grundy, I've known him for years, and actually met him through Dustin. Um, I've done a lot of films with him. Director Ricky Bird Jr. Worked with him on some projects. We've done a bunch of internet series. I've now been involved in, I think, 3 feature films, like Booze, Broads, and Blackjack was one of them. It was a small speaking part, so I got to do that, and then recently with The Wanker, with Grundy. It's one of those movies that you just kind of smack your head like, what the hell is happening? But it's one of them that makes you laugh. It's like one of those things that I truly believe could become a cult fan film. Like the people. It's so over the top ridiculous that you just want to laugh. And of course you have to understand the humor, and 98% of the people do. One person watching, absolutely, she does not understand, that type of humor.
Right.
I'm not going to say her name, but
Okay.
she knows who she is because she's mean to me. And then, but most people that watch it, they're like, "Oh my God, this is hilarious! Like, what were you guys thinking?" And Grundy has a vision, and he's just a really good guy. So, because Dustin was actually the person that introduced me into the movie scene. Like, I was going to be in that film that we were working on, and Dustin had a ton of knowledge about the film business. And to this day, now that I've been involved in it and I understand it, and I've actually been a producer on films and other short projects that might go to online, everything Dustin was saying back then was true. So that's when you know somebody knows what they're talking about. Because once you've
Right.
experienced yourself and the information is still the same as it was 10 years ago, well, then he knew what he was talking about. So it's a fun business. It's a very hard business. And it's like the music industry. Your chances of, getting the Capitol record, you know, um, label or Virgin Atlantic or any of the ones that were huge in the day or even now are Sony, it's slim to none, because it's very difficult to get to that point. So a lot of people have to do it on their own. And like with us, we'll put together our own shows. We'll go and rent, like when we do the East Coast, we'll rent the whole place. It's our
Yeah.
show. It's our production. And that's what Grundy did. He worked his ass off. He saved his money and he started his own production company. And now he is the captain of his vessel, of his voyage. And he makes these films, and he's allowed me to be a big part of it. And so doing that has been a blast. And again, like when we did the little series 6 Feet Down Under, it was amazing. Everybody loved it. We also did you know uh, Bane. It was the nemesis to Batman. And I played one
Oh,
of
okay.
I played Harvey, Detective Harvey, and he's a bad guy. He's a crooked cop, and like my son actually played Nightwing, and this wasn't like cheap costumes. I mean, Nick's costume, it cost me $1,000 because it's handmade specifically to Nick's dimensions.
Right.
Batman, Ian, he was Batman, and of course Guy Grundy played Bane, and that was a cool series. And to this day, people are still saying, "When are you going to do the next episode?" And it makes me laugh because back then I still had short hair and I looked nothing like I look now. And it would be a little hard to to play that role again because I'm not cutting this off, right?
Right.
But the movie industry is cool, and our music's out there, and it's been in a couple of these movies and on the early series, and just the other day, another buddy of mine just made a film, and we're actually on the movie soundtrack, which was kind of cool. So
Yeah.
little by little, the cool things happen, and
You've got your foot in a lot of different things, and a lot of them cross over. Now, before we go, I want to acknowledge the fact that you have won. I took Taekwondo when I was as a teenager, and I wish I would have stuck with it because I love martial arts. but you just won a huge award. And you want to tell us what award you won?
So, the International Martial Arts Council, IMAC, um, blessed me with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And it was based on, my work in the community, more specifically my work in the martial arts community, but, my contributions to other things I did throughout my life. And that was a big moment for me. And I
Sure.
in the martial arts side of the world, I'm a difficult personality. I won't lie.
Mhm.
Again, I like to be brutally honest. Um, I have a quicker response to certain situations. And you would think after all these years of doing martial arts that, where I am telling my students, hey, if you can walk away from it, walk away. If you can run away from it, run away. The last thing you ever want to do is fight somebody, but if you have to, this is
Right.
how we do it. Well, sometimes I let people trigger me a little bit who might not be the nicest person, and they might say things, they might lie, they may do things, and I'll respond to that in ways that I shouldn't.
They
Um,
piss you off.
well, yeah, and it's the martial arts world, so I'm used to being that level of a person to where, okay, if you're going to talk trash, you can back it up, and we can just jump right in that ring right there, and we can handle this. But most people aren't that way, and I have to realize that I am a different person now in the public view, to where I will always be that savage. I will always fight if I have to fight, but I have to look at things differently now, because to some kids out there, I am a role model. To some musicians out there, I may be somebody they might want to be one day, and I have to start acting accordingly, to be that person. And so in martial arts, I was very humbled by getting that award, because I haven't had the best moments in the martial arts community, but nothing
Mhm.
bad. But you know, to be recognized for what I did do right, and the fact that my goal has always been to allow children to protect themselves against people that might want to hurt them one day, or specifically girls. Teaching them what to do in the worst possible case situation and scenario. Those are the things that are important to me. Inner city kids that can't afford martial arts. I don't give anything away for free, because people have to earn something, and if they get it for free, they're never going to learn a lesson. But
That
if
right.
mom or dad or that child can't pay for it, well, you know what? After class, you can stay and help clean the mats, or you can help put the gear away. Or so I don't want to turn anybody away. I want
Mhm.
these kids to know that there is something better in life than where they're at right now, or what they're experiencing right now. I want them to grow up to be great people. And then I also coach high school wrestling, with head coach Joe Cecilia. And I've literally had a dozen or more letters sent to me. Coach, you changed my life. I didn't even think I was going to college. I didn't think I could do this. I hated you when I first met you, and you told me in your speech, you're all going to hate me, but by the time you graduate, you're going to love me. And I got chills again, because I just got another one of those from someone. That's what means the most to me, is that those kids are going to go on to be something great. Where when I met them, they were pretty unsure of themselves. They go left into the worst possible scenarios, or could they go right to greatness? And so those are the things that
Are
I feel good
important
about,
to you.
and those are the things why I'm proud of getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, because I know I've done those things, and I never want to pat myself on the back. I'm not out here to brag about me, but answering your question about the Lifetime Achievement Award, it meant everything to me, because knowing that I helped those kids, knowing that now that these people who are adults, young men and women, and they are making great choices in life, and they're going to have an amazing existence, and they're going to have the confidence and discipline and foresight to do the right things, and to understand that they are just important in their role right now in their life as the CEO who's going to hire them, and their job is to not demand that guy's money and pay, but to earn it, and become that person through hard work. So
Well, you're an incredible icon for young people, for anybody that actually knows you as a person, whether it's on the stage, whether it's in the ring, or it's coaching eh, coaching wrestling, or in your days when you were a police officer. So there are so many layers to Tony Apello. I mean, it's just like we could talk for 2 more hours. You and I mean, we've always had this good camaraderie, between us that we could talk about anything.
Yeah,
But
good energy.
I know it's good energy. But we're at 9:00, and they only give me an hour. Can you believe that they give me an hour? And
I
I'm going to have to talk to the boss. Could you send him a letter? But I wish you guys well. I follow you. I've watched your movie clips that you've posted, and I follow the individual, members in the band as well. So I wish you well. I will, uh, keep following you on Wolf Entertainment, and find out. Oh, good. No hurry, Sue. Thank you, Doc. It's just it's just good. You're all good people, and sometimes that's hard to find today in music, in the community, and just as an individual yourself. So I commend you on that, Tony. I mean, God bless you. You are,
Thank
and
you.
I hope to continue being, friends with you. And when I need a bodyguard, I know who to call.
Definitely, no
Yes,
problem.
definitely. And so tonight, I would like to thank Tony Apello for being here. I'm sure I'll have you on again when you get ready to go accept that big Grammy award. And but you can find Six Gun Sal on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Apple Music, Pandora, Deezer, Reverb Nation, Tidal, and Last FM. That's a new one. Last FM. Okay.
And iHeart, we got a notification about iHeart too, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you're on iHeart right now. So anyone that's tuning into the show and tuning on Hamilton Radio, they are hearing you right now on iHeart Radio. So congratulations for that. We will continue to play your stuff. I mean, we're still playing. What is it, Brother and the Creek from last year?
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
that's
out.
still in rotation, and we have the Hustle in there now. So anyone that listens to Hamilton Radio or wants to listen to Hamilton Radio, go to hamiltonradio.net. hamiltonradio.net, and there's a little thing that drops down, and all you do is fill that information out, and you put in there you want to hear the Hustle from Six Gun Sal, and we will play your request. So it's like everything else, man. The more requests, the more we play you, but we will not take you out of rotation. So we got you. We got you covered. Thank you so much, Tony. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Kisses. Someday send me a picture of that thong that you're in. And my
Yeah,
t-shirt is in the mail, right? And I want to thank you and the band.
just send the address and you'll have it by next week.
Okay, babe. I appreciate that. I thank you and the band for the years of the music and what's left to come. So thank you
And,
very much.
and Sue, thank you. And it's always a pleasure to be on with you. And thank you to people like you. So you guys are truly what helps bands the most. So again, you have a great night. Thank you for letting me share these moments with you. And yeah, come on anytime you want me to.
I like beating you up when I can. Right? Yeah. All right. I'm Sue Bloom. I'm out of here. Thank you. I will see you next Tuesday.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks so much.